Good morning, everybody. It's a Saturday morning. I have Samson in the garage, and we're just about to get started on the first major mod. You guys ready? Rock slide engineering side steps. This is going to be the first major mod onto Samson. Waiting for my son right now to give me an extra set of hands, and then we're going to get started. Okay, guys, just like SpongeBob says, 1 hour later, the sun shows up. This is Matthew, my extra set of hands. He's going to help me out. Yeah, it is 1 hour. You checking the time?
30 minutes.
Let's get started. All right, so basically the first step that we're going to do is we're going to run the wire harness on the passenger side through the firewall and hook it up to the battery. This is not going to be an install video. Basically, we're just going to film as we're going along, so it's not going to be step by step. See you in a little bit.
What is this thing?
It's a hood. Yay!
Jeez. Ah, it's gotta be different.
All right. All right. So the first thing they said to do is hook up, well, run it through the firewall on the frame of the passenger side. They said open it up, pull the fuse out. I already did that. So I'm going to hook up the red to my red, and then hook up the negative to my fender over here. And then we'll continue with what we have to do. As usual, 90% of these bolts or nuts on the Jeeps, 10 millimeter. Samson is a 2021 JT, and I'm installing the rock slide engineering harness. The hole that they tell you to bring the door sensors up through is not the front door, it is the rear door. And from underneath the carpet from inside, on my model anyway, they have this black tape covering everything, but I was able to cut it, and if we pry it off here, then you can see the round hole. But otherwise, if you just lift the carpet, you're not going to see that hole. And this again is next to the rear passenger door. That's where they want you to bring the door harness and seal it off with the supplied grommet. Let me get this done and then we'll get back to you. So if you guys are watching the video from Rockslide Engineering, must be a different year Gladiator. Again, Samson's a 2021. There is no little piece of trim here that you can remove nice and easy. So what we did is above the latch, we just used the different trim tools we have to pop this open here. And this allows us the room behind the trim, because there is no little carpet. On the other model and their video, it shows carpeting coming all the way up. It's not like that with this. So you don't try to pry this part off, because there's a bolt that comes from the inside out, and that hole's that solid, so you'll wind up snapping that. I almost found out the hard way. So just use the pry bars, trim tools, prop it out. Then you have enough room back here to get that sensor and the wire harness down to the bottom. See you in a little bit. All right, so again, if you're watching the video from Rockslide Engineering, totally different model than Samson. They don't have the rock rails on the Jeep already, so I'm actually going to remove the rock rails, and then I'm going to continue at the same point that the video continues from Rockslide Engineering. That's when they start with taking off the pinch point bolts, and then they're going to start loosening up the body bolts. All right, so right now I'm going to remove the rock rails, and I'll get back to you in just a little bit. We got the rock rails off. That wasn't too hard, just a couple of nuts this way, and some bolts going this way. Shake it, pull it out this way to the side. So then if you continue on the engineering rock sliding video, they'll tell you to start taking these two pinch bolts off. So we took those two front pinch bolts off. Now I got the brackets ready Already loosened the body mounts. Just take it nice and easy. Best thing to do is a socket and pry bar, breaker bar rather, 1/2 inch. This way you have the strength. Just go nice and slow, nice and slow. Maybe spray it with some PB Blaster or something like that if it's been in there a while. But otherwise they came out no problem, thank God. I don't use impact guns because they'll tend to break and snap things. But wasn't too bad. Now we're going to set up these things onto those body mount bolts that we loosened, 1/4 of an inch, so they slide up there. And then we're going to take it from there. Right now Matthew is working on the other side. That's why it's good to have an extra pair of hands. You get 2 things done at once. Guys. So they tell you to mount these brackets underneath the 3 body mounts. Front and rear, no problem. Middle one, however, this large fender washer, the bolt itself has threads right there. And it was almost impossible to push this fender washer up past those threads enough to slip this bracket in there. Basically what I wound up doing is making sure the bolt was loose enough. I tried, where is it? Tried putting a socket over the bolt onto the washer and hitting it. That did absolutely no good. So next thing, I put some silicone lubricant above and below the washer and on this bracket, put a 2x4 here and slammed it in, and now it works very well. It went in there no problem. It's all the way in. I don't know how else you would have done it. If you hit this directly with a hammer, you're going to wind up ruining the powder coating, and you don't see it, but that's where rust will start, right? So I did it with a 2x4 right here, and it seemed to work. Let me see if I get you a closer look at exactly how this looks. So here's the bracket, the way it's supposed to be, underneath the washer, but above the nut, right? And I hammered it in all the way to make sure she's in there, and now she's good. My son was asking me, how am I going to tighten that bolt up into the body again? Well, when the rock slides come onto it, that'll keep this from spinning, and I'm sure we'll be able to screw the bolt straight up back into the body. All right, guys, so at this point we have cleaned the whole side, the angled side, with alcohol wipes. We measured 1 3/4 inches down from the bottom of the door seal to where the top edge of the rubber gasket is supposed to lay. In the directions and the videotape, they mention a slot on this. This kit doesn't have a slot, but we pretty much figured out that if I take the shorter piece that's in the extension box and we put it right on this seam here at this point, right, and then we take the longer one from this point forward, so we're lining up this separation right on the seam of the body. That measurement works fine. Basically, we measured straight down again, right here, pretty much on the flat spots of both door panels. To get this extra piece of tape, I just took a 2-foot level and I kind of guided it, and then we put the tape there just to have an idea of where it goes. But this seems to be working. We're going to go ahead, we're going to peel this off, we're going to stick this on, and that's about it. All right, so we're ready to get this installed. We got the rubber gasket on there. Now we got to put the extension part onto this before we install the whole thing. I guess they just wanted to make it heavier for you to move. We have to install this spacer. We got the included hardware. We pulled out the harness. So we're going to get this put together, and then you'll see us put it on. So we got the back extension parts bolted to the main part. And you have a choice. Doesn't really matter whether you put the bolts from the front facing the back or the back facing the front. I put the bolts from the front facing the back with the spacer in the middle, as you see there. This way, if I ever have to get a wrench in here, or even tightening them up, right? I have plenty of room here. I don't have to worry about the motor over here. All right, so if you put them in the other way, then all your wrenching and stuff is in this area and it's extremely tight. So just put them in this way, and I'm sure on the driver's side it's the reverse, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. Also, this is the top part of your step. So this and this front edge here, you really want to make sure they line up nice and even. This way there's no difference when you're looking at it. The holes and everything line up pretty even. I gotta say, it's nice to go back to standard size tools. Those nuts are 1/2 inch. You don't have to worry about the bolt head side because it is a square neck, so it locks itself in place. The moment of truth. You ready, Matthew?
Uh-huh.
Let's get this bad boy on there.
Oh, yeah, that's heavier.
That's just a little heavy. Ready? Remember, we gotta go, hold on, gotta watch that middle bracket and your front bracket. And then go right in the holes of the pinch seam. Ready? Good, we're ready. That's it. Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah, much better. Much
That
better.
looks nice. All right. I'm gonna put the nuts on the inside real quick on that pinch seam, and then I'll get back to you. All right, guys, so this is the driver's side. I wanted to bring some stuff to your attention real quick that we noticed on the passenger side. So in front here, I have the actual rock slider. In the back is the armor skid plates that fit on top of that. The motor, same situation that is on the passenger is on the driver's side. Before you mount this onto the Gladiator, you want to pull this wire through this little spot here. Actually, I would just leave it in here, in this first little bay right here. If you have to slide it over this, you can, but I don't think so. This is fine just like this. And now that armor plate, before you start tightening up the body mounts, the front and the middle, these front four, the armor does utilize these second ones here. See right here? But not the front two. They don't use this, they do use these two. So don't put those in yet. And then the body armor in the middle also utilizes these same four spots, but the front two are cut. So you could slip those in underneath. These back two, you cannot slip them underneath. So we're going to need that. It does utilize these front two and the back two. These could slip in. These won't be able to slip in. So just wanted to show you that, give you a heads up. My son is going to start working on this side, getting all these pinch ones done while I finish installing the armor on the passenger side. Just so you know, you keep aware of it. You have 1, 2, 3 1/4-inch studs on each side. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5/16 inch studs. All right, so when they tell you about using a combination of 1/4-inch and 5/16 nuts, that's what they're talking about. I am underneath the passenger rear side of the skid plate of the rail. So this is the most rear motor mount. So make sure you get all 4 of these bolts in before you tighten the motor mounts, right? Approach them. Don't tighten them all the way. You can do the same thing for all the other motor mounts. I just wanted to point out that this hole here in the rear is where the skid plate is going to get mounted to if you got the optional skid plates. Okay, that square neck is going to go through the skid plate, go through this hole, and then have a flat washer and a nylon nut The other spot is going to be a little bit more forward right here. This is where that seam is in between the back part and the front part. It goes through the skid plate again into this hole, and then the front section mounts through this hole and so forth. That last hole all the way in the back there, I don't know if they had a little bit of extra powder coating or what, but I did have to drill it out just a little bit to make sure that the bolt fed straight through. I can't screw it in, right, because of the square neck. So once it started on the skid plate, it would have to pull straight through. So just keep that in mind, okay? So now I'm facing the front of the Gladiator. Those 4 bolts right there, the black ones, are the 4 that go into that front motor mount. Body mount, I keep saying engine mount for some reason. Body mount, sorry. And then these over here are the ones that we had to bang in with the 2x4. I actually had to pull it forward just a little bit to really make sure it fit. So once I got all of these bolts finger approached and made sure everything was square and good, then I tightened these. I still have not tightened down the body mounts or torqued them down at all. For all the torque settings, please look at their video online. I don't know if it's because it's a different year model or if this is a Rubicon and because that one was a Mojave. There are slight differences that we're noticing. But we'll see. We're getting it done. It's coming along. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I am facing the front of the Gladiator right now, where the 4 bolts go into the body mount. You're going to use the 2 original ones here. They're black with the gold washers. And then they also give you a bag of 4 hex head bolts that are a little longer. You're going to use the 2 that they give you here on the driver's side and then the other 2 on the passenger side. These are a little bit longer because once you add the skid plate, you need that extra length, that's what she said, to get it into the body mount bracket over here and get it tight. All right? I figured I'd give you guys a heads up before you do what I did, which was install all 4 of these and then realize you had to take those 2 out, and then you realize that's what these extra bolts are for. This is the front skid plate. I'm actually facing the rear of the Gladiator. This carriage bolt here that they supply, that they give you, is the square neck that gets pulled through here. Inside you're going to put a washer and a nylon nut. However, the square cutout wasn't really big enough to lock the carriage head from spinning. So what I had to do was I had to use a pair of 430s to hold the head tight. These are channel locks or adjustable pliers. And then take a 1/2-inch socket, short. You cannot use the long one unless you got a medium one. That would work perfect. And then you have to basically, over this rail, you're going to ratchet and tighten the nut on that carriage bolt. You are probably going to be working 1 click at a time because you have absolutely no room up there between these rails here to actually get anything. So again, put the back 2 in, right? You see at the back 1, the gold one right there on this plate. Finger tight on the nylon nut. Get this one finger tight on the nylon nut. Get the front 2 hex heads started. Don't tighten them. Then approach this one. This is that center one. Get this one fully tightened before you even approach the back or the front. This way you get any bow out of the middle and you have movement on both ends. After you approach the bolts underneath the skid plate, to keep the skid plate from bouncing up and down, I just put the rivets in. They're not nailed in tight yet. Okay, so I just put them in, made sure that this front lip was pushed up as much as possible so that I could get the rivets in. The rivets again are just approached to hold it in place. The rock slide nameplate that was originally on the step here, I just drilled it out with a drill bit, the 2 rivets right here, took the plate off, and then I put the skid plate on. The skid plate also has the plate here, so you're still going to have the rock slide engineering nameplate on front. But so far, it's looking good. We haven't tested anything yet. We're going to test everything in just a little bit. Don't forget, after you got everything on the rock sliders bolted in and tightened up, don't forget to come back and make sure you torque down the body bolts just torque them down. Not one last time like you've done them over and over. So you loosen them up at the beginning to get all the brackets in, and now the final thing is just torquing them down. The body mounts get torqued down to 80 foot-pounds. 80 foot-pounds. In case some of you missed that. And then you're done as far as mounting goes. Now I just have to mount the lights and make sure everything else is zip tied along all the railings, the body rails, and hopefully we'll be done soon. See you in a bit. So you saw how we did the back door sensors. This is the front door sensor. Gonna go around the molding, pop out the side molding. We attach the harness that we pulled in. Okay. We haven't snapped back the rubber or the plastic trim pieces yet. We're going to test the door magnets in a minute, and then we'll test the rock sliders and see how everything works. So the door magnets, what you do is you put them right underneath the latch, just below the screw. I kind of did that just magnetized without putting the glue pad on it. Closed it, opened it, made sure the sliders came out, and they did. Checked every single one of the doors, make sure your harnesses are plugged in, obviously. Make sure your button is in the on position. I have my button all the way over there underneath the dashboard because I had to kind of use it in a different spot than the OBD because I have something else mounted on that bracket. But it worked out fine. I'm not going to kick it or anything. I'm aware of it. So now, once the door magnets are on, everything closes. A couple of seconds, they go up. So I still have the rivets only approached. If you notice, I haven't popped them in. I haven't nailed them in. Speaking of nailing, those square washers, the carriage bolts with the square necks that I told you about, I showed you, I was using the channel locks. You could also hammer them in a little bit, and that'll usually help a lot. If it doesn't, then you can always go back to the channel locks. But I'm gonna tap these rivets in and then back up the camera and give you guys a full view of how everything looks. This is it. I have everything torqued down. I did the lights underneath the side steps. I'm going to show you where I mounted them on the driver's side, where I mounted them on the passenger side. I like where I mounted them on the driver's side a little bit better. Let me come over here and open the door. You really can't see anything yet. Let me get a little closer. So here I am at the bottom. This is the back. I mounted it on the body at an angle, on the body of the Gladiator. Mounted this one right in front of the arm because you can't get anything in the back of the arm. The motor is there and there's nothing open. To me, We should have did something about that. Maybe put a little wedge underneath there or something. The other one I mounted a little further back from the spring, so it's more towards the back of the front door. But the driver's side lights up pretty nice. A little bit nicer than the passenger side, which I should have tested rather than just stick there. Let me show you where I mounted the lights on the passenger side now. All right, so we're on the passenger side now. The front one, I mounted a little closer to the front. I actually put it facing down behind the spring, as opposed to a little further back behind that mount there and on an angle facing out. I like the way I did it on the driver's side better. This way it's facing more down than it is out. And the back one, again, I put it as far back as I could. I can't go any further back because of the motor. But I'm wondering, maybe we could drill a 1/2 inch hole here, or a 3/4 inch hole, 1, 2, 3, just to allow some of the light to go to this back part here. The back part here, they extended 2 inches on the Gen 3, which I love, and they mounted the whole step a little further back, I believe. Again, great design. The only thing I'm wondering is there's no light that passes through here, so in the dark, this whole back section on both the driver's side and the passenger side is a little dark. Give me a minute and I will show you what everything looks like with no lights on, in the background anyway. So, I do have a headlamp on in the red mode. I'm going to open up, this is the driver's side. I'm going to open up the driver's side right now so you see what the steps look like. And I'll show you the passenger side in a minute. So again, everything opened up, great. The front half looks beautiful. Back half, you can see it, but it's black. It's absolutely black, very dark. But again, you can see it. It is longer on the Gen 3, and I am liking it. I'm just wondering if maybe that back set of lights could have been mounted maybe on a wedge style to angle the light a little better. Or, like I said, put some 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch holes on that rack to let the light through a little bit better. But this is the driver's side. Let me go around to the other side and we'll see what it looks like on the passenger side. All right, so here we are on the passenger side. I'm going to open up the front door, let the steps down, so you can see what it looks like. Voila. The center is lit a lot more than the driver's side because of the placement of the lights and the fact that they're both facing out, glued to the body of the Gladiator, facing out on an angle, actually right underneath that rubberized strip that they had us put on. But again, this back half right here, it's black. You cannot see it, it's not lit up. I mean, yes, I'm sorry, you can see it, but it's not lit up. Again, I don't know. I'm going to see how this looks, see how it works out. If I have anybody tripping or falling over it. I don't really have a lot of passengers in the back anyway. But maybe, like I said, maybe what I'll do is I'll drill out a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch hole right here and right here. These two spots, you know, so the light goes through. I don't know. What do you guys think? Give me your suggestions. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. My first and best suggestion for the Rockslide Engineering side steps is watch their install video. Also, look at the manual while you're doing it. You're going to get some different information. This was the first major modification to Samson. Everyone knows I'm fun-sized, so I figured I can't really lift it until I get side steps. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get inside. Now, for the second modification, I'm thinking a lift. Not sure if I want to go with, 3.5 inch, 2.5 inch. Thinking eventually I'd like to go with 35s, maybe 37s. Not sure what lift I want to go with yet. Any ideas, suggestions, sponsors, anything, please put them in the comments. I do want to go with a long arm kit though. That is one thing I am interested in. They're a smoother ride. I'm not a rock crawler. I just want a smoother ride, but I do want to be able to get across or through any obstacles that come my way, so to speak. Third modification would probably be the skid plates. Not sure yet if I want to go with the steel, the aluminum with the plastic stuff. I don't even know what it's called. Again, any suggestions, ideas, sponsors? You think I'm looking for sponsors? Why not? Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Put them in the comments, and then we'll see what happens next. After the skid plates, I would like to get a cover in the back. I'm thinking AT Overland Atlas or four-wheel camper Project M, something like that, just to have some sleeping arrangement when I'm by myself, maybe with the dog, with Monty. Again, your thoughts, your suggestions, please let me know. If any one of those companies want to sponsor me, let me know. This stuff gets expensive, I'm not going to lie to you. I do prefer the tops that go straight up as opposed to the wedge style campers. I think those are a little small, a little tight. I do not want to go with, let's say, a hard shell cover and then a rooftop tent in the middle of the night. If I gotta go pee, I don't want to start climbing down a ladder or have to worry about what's outside. So that's definitely something I'm interested in. A straight push-up type, and not an actual slide-in camper, because those get very heavy. After the camper, I don't know, lighting. I have no idea where I want to put all these lights. I don't know if I want to go with a whole big light bar on top. Not really into that. I'm thinking some specific lights to light up what's in front of me, a little bit on the ditch lights for the sides. I do like some rock lights to see what's underneath there, maybe some camp lights. Again, suggestions, thoughts, comments, please put them in the suggestions and thoughts, please put them in the comments section. Hey, I'm still new at this. I'm still learning. It takes me forever to edit these videos, so just please bear with me. I'll try to get them out as soon as possible. I'm going to try to videotape all the installs, all the trips and adventures. When it comes to that lift, I am planning on doing it myself or with a friend, actually. I'm not taking it to a shop. I want to become familiar with all the bits and pieces and what's involved in this. So please, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what's happening, what your thoughts are. Get critical on my videos, get critical on my editing. It's only going to help me out in the long run. I do enjoy this. This is definitely something I've been watching and trying to learn. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. Anyway, for our mantra at Off-Road Excitement, it doesn't matter what you drive. Seriously, I don't care. Whether it's a Toyota, a Land Rover, a Hummer, a Bronco, a Jeep. Just if you enjoy biking or hiking, it doesn't matter. Just get outside, off the pavement, off the cement. Enjoy some off-road excitement. That's all I got to say, guys. Oh, there's one more thing. With this rock slide engineering, it was fun to do it with my son. It was exciting. It was definitely a learning experience. Too bad I had to take him off about 1 month later. Stay tuned for the next video. That's a big one. So I had The rock slide engineering side steps, if you noticed now, they are removed.